Hey friend, Roger Christopherson here again with another first listen review. And the boy I'm about to babble about is one of my favorite singers of all time. Of course, I'm talking about Glenn Hughes. He has a new album called Chosen. He's been promoting this one as his last rock album. He's made it very clear this is not his last album ever. He's not retiring, he's not going anywhere, but this is going to be the last solo rock album that he does. Which is cool because he does a lot of different varying styles of music. I like the way he always switches things up. You know, you have a lot of funk stuff in his music, a lot of bluesy type things going on, which he has on this album a little bit, but mainly this is a rock album. First half of this album is just riffs. It's riffs, big, I want to say, there's a touch of funk to them because he can't quite get that out of his system, and it's in his soul and in his blood, so it's there, but mostly it's like big 70s sounding rock riffs. Does a big riff, sings over a held out kind of chord, and then the riff again, and then chorus, cool little solo. Ends the song. The first half of this is very formulaic, I don't know how you say it. He sticks to that, works great. His singing is amazing. I kind of first heard Glenn when he did that Phenomena album when I was younger, and I don't know what it was about that album. His voice on that album just sucked me in, and I went back and got all the older stuff from that point on. I actually tried singing one of his songs, some college band I was in, No Stranger to Love, when he was in Black Sabbath. Did not nail that one, by the way. I did not nail that one. Yeah, it was hard to do. I've never ever want to try to sing a Glenn Hughes song ever again in my life. But anyway, back to this album. Very cool start to it. Like I said, huge rock riffs. Now the second half of it, where it really gets interesting to me, still stays pretty rock. The song Lost Parade kicks in with a riff that instantly made me think of Alice in Chains. Had that grungy type sound. However, he doesn't really sing Alice in Chains over the top of it. It's a good thing. He still sticks to his signature style of singing. And this is where I think the melodies start to get a little bit better, because it's hard to sing over riffs. He does his job very well. He sings great, no complaints. But when you're singing over, it's like what he's doing, it's hard to come up with a catchy riff over the top of that, or melody over the top of that when there's already a catchy riff. This is where he starts to experiment a little bit more with the melody. And that one, he does a great job, and especially in the next one, Hot Damn Thing. It's probably the most catchy, memorable thing on the whole album. I probably should have done that one as a single first. That one really just jumped out and was the most memorable thing, and I don't want to say mainstream, but it had a big chorus to it and biggest vocals. I noticed there's not a whole lot of huge background vocals, melodies and stuff going on, harmonies I should say, but there was a little bit on that one. He did a great job on that one as far as bringing out a really memorable vocal line. And then same thing with Black Cat Moan, where he does get probably the funkiest on here. And mainly has to do more with the guitar part, actually, not Glenn himself, but the guitar in here is a little bit more funky than anything else on the album. And I should probably mention the band at this point. It's Soren Anderson playing guitar on the whole album. You got Ash Sheehan on drums, and Bob Fritzema on keys. Another great thing about this album is it sounds like a band. It sounds like a band went in, jammed out together. I don't know if they did it that way, but it sounds that way. They went and jammed through the songs, played them as a band. Doesn't sound like there's a whole lot of overdubs going on in there, a few that you can hear them, but overall it's the live band feel. That's what I love about rock music. So you captured that great on here. And I just hope we never lose that with music, the band feel, the human feel. This album has that just oozing out of it, and I love that about it. And getting to that, we get to track number 9, which is a ballad, I guess, and the soul comes out. This is where we get the soul, singing from Glenn, which is some of the stuff we absolutely love. I'm sure all of us love that style of singing from him. He brings it out in here really late in the album, but that's fine. It really reaches out and grabs your soul. I couldn't tell you what the heck the song was about. Didn't really pay attention, but I just know the singing was great on this one, and it really reached out and grabbed me. And then we go back into the tried and true of the first half of the album with cool rock and riff into probably the least memorable song on the album, quite honestly, called Into the Fade. It wasn't bad, but it didn't stand up to the rest of the album, unfortunately, but it's still not a bad song. I don't think anything Glenn ever does in my eyes is really bad, but compared to what we already heard, that was probably the weakest way to end the album. You know, whatever. It is what it is, but I really did enjoy the album nonetheless. I really enjoy what Glenn does. Stuff he did with, he just recently, left the Dead Daisies. He did a couple albums with them where he just freaking tore it up. That stuff's great rock stuff. So if you missed that, go check that out. He pretty much sang everything on the last Black Country Communion album, which I love and didn't love at the same time because I really do enjoy Joe Bonamassa singing, but he didn't do much on that one. Glenn really took over that album. So we've gotten a lot of rock from Glenn lately, so maybe that's why he's promoting this as his last rock album, but he says he's going to keep doing all the other stuff anyway. But I'm sure the next thing we hear from him solo is going to be something very, very interesting. So make sure you comment, tell me what you think of Glenn, what you thought of this album if you've heard it, what you think about him not doing any more rock stuff, what you like Black Country Communion or any of those other albums I mentioned, or any other albums that you think we should check out. Always feel free to mention that stuff in here. Like, share, and subscribe to keep this music alive, because Glenn ain't going anywhere by the sounds of it. And so when he releases his next album, I'm going to be standing there waiting in line with money clenched in fist, ready to hand it over for whatever he's doing. And until then, we will see you.